There will come a moment in your life when you finally understand that not every insult deserves a response, not every accusation deserves an explanation, and not every person deserves access to your peace. Some people will provoke you because they are angry with themselves. Some will disrespect you because your dignity exposes their lack of character. Some will create drama because peace feels unfamiliar to them. And some will deliberately push your buttons simply to prove that they still have control over your emotions. The question is not whether people will insult you. They will. The question is not whether people will misunderstand you. They will. The question is not whether toxic people will enter your life. At some point they will. The real question is this: will you allow their darkness to enter your heart? Will you allow one rude comment to destroy an entire day that Allah gave you? Will you allow someone's bad manners to change your character? Will you lose sleep because a person who does not even fear Allah formed an opinion about you? Will you damage your relationship with Allah because you are too busy fighting with His creation? My beloved brothers and sisters, being unbothered does not mean becoming cold, arrogant, emotionless, or careless. Islam does not teach you to become a stone. You have a heart. You feel pain. Words can hurt. Betrayal can hurt. Disrespect can hurt. Even the strongest person may feel wounded when someone they trusted treats them badly. But Islam teaches you something greater than emotional numbness. It teaches you emotional discipline. It teaches you that you can feel pain without becoming cruel. You can be insulted without becoming insulting. You can be misunderstood without begging everyone to understand you. You can walk away without hatred. You can forgive without allowing the same person to keep harming you. You can remain silent, not because you are weak, but because you know that Allah heard what was said. True strength is not proving that you can destroy someone with your words. True strength is having the ability to respond harshly, yet choosing what pleases Allah. Today we will speak about how to protect your peace from insults, drama, disrespect, manipulation, and toxic people. Not through empty motivational slogans, but through the guidance of Islam. Because when your heart becomes attached to Allah, people lose the power to control it. 1. Stop giving people authority over your emotions. Many people do not realize that they have handed the remote control of their emotions to someone else. One person compliments them and suddenly they feel valuable. Another person criticizes them and suddenly they feel worthless. Someone replies warmly to their message and they are happy. Someone leaves them on read and their whole mood collapses. Someone praises their appearance and they feel confident. Someone makes one insulting remark and they spend the next 3 days replaying it in their mind. My brother, my sister, why have you given another human being so much authority over your heart? Why does their approval determine your worth? Why does their rejection determine your peace? Why does their behavior decide whether you will thank Allah for today or remain miserable? People are unstable. Their opinions change, their moods change, their loyalties change. Today they praise you, tomorrow they criticize you. Today they call you wonderful. Tomorrow, because you refused one request, suddenly you are selfish, arrogant, difficult, and ungrateful. If your peace depends on people being pleased with you, you will never have peace. It is impossible to satisfy everyone. You could spend your entire life helping people, and the first time you say no, some of them will forget every yes you ever gave them. You could treat someone with kindness for 10 years, and during one disagreement, they may behave as though you never did anything good for them. This is why your heart must be connected to Allah rather than enslaved to people's reactions. Ask yourself a simple question. Did I do what was right before Allah? Not did everyone clap for me. Not did everyone agree with me. Not did they understand my intentions. Not did they speak well about me afterward. Did I try to please Allah? If the answer is yes, then continue walking. People may misunderstand your silence. Allah knows why you remain silent. People may accuse you of arrogance when you establish boundaries. Allah knows you are protecting yourself from harm. People may call you weak because you refuse to argue. Allah knows how much strength it took to control your anger. People may call you selfish because you stopped allowing them to use you. Allah knows how long you tolerated what you should never have tolerated. Your value does not decrease because someone failed to recognize it. The moon does not stop shining because a blind person cannot see it. Your character does not become evil simply because someone described you unfairly. Your sincerity does not become false simply because someone questioned it. Allah knows you fully. That should comfort you. Human beings usually judge a tiny portion of your life. They see one decision, one reaction, one mistake, or one moment. Allah sees everything. He knows what happened before that moment. He knows what pressure you were under. He knows what you intended. He knows the private battles no one witnessed. He knows how many times you chose patience when you could have retaliated. So stop treating every human opinion as a final judgment. Some people criticize you from ignorance. Some criticize you from jealousy. Some criticize you because they heard one side of a story. Some criticize you because they are projecting their own insecurities. Some criticize you because they expected to control you and you finally said no. And sometimes people criticize you because you are genuinely wrong. A believer must be humble enough to examine criticism honestly. Being unbothered does not mean rejecting every correction. That is arrogance. If someone gives sincere advice, listen. If you made a mistake, admit it. If you harmed someone, apologize. If your character requires improvement, improve it. But learn the difference between sincere correction and destructive humiliation. Sincere advice usually seeks your growth. Toxic criticism seeks your pain. Sincere advice addresses the action. Toxic criticism attacks your identity. Sincere advice can be firm, but it carries concern. Toxic criticism carries contempt. Take what is beneficial and leave what is malicious. Do not swallow poison simply because it was served in the cup of honesty. Some people say, I am only being honest, when what they actually mean is, I enjoy hurting people and I want moral permission to do it. Honesty without wisdom can become cruelty. Truth without compassion can become a weapon. And you are not required to stand there while someone repeatedly attacks your dignity under the excuse of being straightforward. Protecting your peace begins when you stop allowing every person to enter your emotional control room. You cannot always control what people say, but you can train yourself not to build a home for their words inside your mind. When someone insults you, pause. Do not immediately react. Breathe. Say, this is their behavior. It does not have to become my character. Remind yourself, Allah sees me. Allah knows me. Allah will judge between us. You may feel hurt. That is natural. But you do not have to turn that hurt into rage, revenge, gossip, or disobedience. The moment you refuse to let another person drag you away from your principles, you regain control of yourself. Do not give people a position in your heart that belongs only to Allah. If their praise controls you, their criticism will destroy you. If their acceptance gives you identity, their rejection will make you lose yourself. But when your worth comes from being a servant of Allah, you become steady. You still listen, you still learn, you still care. But you no longer collapse every time someone speaks against you. 2. Master your anger before your anger masters you. One of the fastest ways toxic people steal your peace is by provoking your anger. They say something disrespectful. They mention the one topic they know will hurt you. They mock your weakness. They bring up your past. They speak badly about your family. They accuse you falsely. Then they wait. They are waiting for your reaction. They want you to shout. They want you to swear. They want you to say something so ugly that the entire conversation shifts away from what they did and toward how you responded. This is a common trap. A person behaves badly for 20 minutes, but when you finally explode for 20 seconds, suddenly you become the villain. They forget their provocation and focus on your reaction. A believer must become intelligent enough to recognize this trap before falling into it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught that the truly strong person is not the one who overpowers others physically, but the one who controls himself during anger. Notice the standard of strength in Islam. Strength is not shouting the loudest. Strength is not having the most frightening vocabulary. Strength is not making sure the other person leaves the room humiliated. Strength is governing yourself when your emotions are on fire. Anyone can behave well when everyone respects them. The real test of character begins when someone disrespects you. Anyone can speak gently when everything is going according to plan. The real test comes when you feel insulted, betrayed, ignored, or falsely accused. Your anger itself is not always sinful. Anger is an emotion. Sometimes anger arises because an injustice occurred. Sometimes it arises because a boundary was crossed. Sometimes it warns you that something is seriously wrong. The problem begins when anger takes control of your tongue and actions. In one angry moment, a person may destroy a marriage, humiliate a child, cut off relatives, expose private secrets, send a message they can never fully take back, or commit an act they regret for years. This is why you must not treat anger casually. When you are angry, your mind produces arguments that feel completely reasonable in that moment. It tells you, say it now, expose them, embarrass them, make them feel what they made you feel. Do not let them think you are weak. But after the anger leaves, you are left cleaning up the destruction. The other person may forget the argument. You may carry the consequences for years. Learn to delay your response. You do not need to answer every message immediately. You do not need to respond while your hands are shaking. You do not need to settle the issue while your heart is racing. You are allowed to say, I am too angry to discuss this properly. We can speak later. That is not avoidance. It is maturity. A person who demands that you discuss something at the exact moment you are emotionally overwhelmed may not be seeking resolution. They may be seeking an explosion. Walk away before you cross a line. Make wudu. Change your physical position. Sit down if you are standing. Leave the room if remaining there will lead to sin. Seek refuge in Allah from shaitan. Lower your voice. Do not send the paragraph. You know the paragraph I am speaking about. The long paragraph with 12 accusations, 7 screenshots, 3 old incidents from 2019, and a final sentence saying, anyway, I do not care. If you truly did not care, you would not have written a small book. Save it as a draft. Read it later. Most of the time, you will realize that half of it should never be sent. And understand something important. Silence during anger is not surrender. You can address the matter later. You can speak firmly. You can establish consequences. You can report abuse. You can defend your rights. Islam does not require you to smile while someone oppresses you, but choose your response when your mind is clear and your intention is clean. Do not let your enemy choose the time, place, tone, and version of you that appears. If someone can make you abandon your values with a few words, they are controlling you. If they can make you swear, backbite, expose secrets, or behave unjustly, they have pulled you into their environment. Perhaps they are comfortable in chaos. You are not required to join them there. Imagine someone standing in mud and inviting you to wrestle. Even if you win, you will still become covered in mud, and they enjoy being there. Some arguments are exactly like that. There is no dignity in winning them. There is only damage. When you feel angry, ask yourself, what outcome do I want? Do I want justice, or do I simply want revenge? Do I want this problem solved, or do I want this person hurt? Will my next sentence please Allah? If this conversation were recorded and played before the people I respect, would I be comfortable? More importantly, would I be comfortable when it is presented before Allah? This question can save you, because anger makes you think only about the present moment. Faith reminds you of the hereafter. Perhaps you could destroy someone's reputation with information you possess. But should you? Perhaps you could reveal what they told you privately. But will Allah be pleased? Perhaps you could insult their appearance, family, education, income, or past. But what does that have to do with the issue? Do not become unjust merely because you were treated unjustly. Two wrongs do not produce righteousness. Someone else's sin does not give you permission to commit your own. And remember that anger often punishes the wrong people. Someone disrespects you outside the home, and you return home angry with your spouse. Your employer frustrates you, and you shout at your children. A relative provokes you, and you become harsh with someone who had nothing to do with the situation. This is emotional injustice. Do not spread the poison. Bring your anger to Allah before bringing it to innocent people. Pray, make dua, walk, write privately, speak to someone trustworthy, cry if you need to cry. But do not turn your wound into a weapon. The goal is not to never feel angry. The goal is to make sure anger never becomes your master. 3. Understand that silence can be an act of power. Many people are terrified of remaining silent because they believe silence makes them look guilty, weak, defeated, or afraid. So they explain everything. They defend every decision. They respond to every accusation. They correct every rumor. They chase every person who misunderstood them. They keep speaking until they are exhausted, yet the person determined to misunderstand them remains unconvinced. My beloved brothers and sisters, not everyone asking for an explanation is seeking the truth. Some people ask questions because they want clarity. Others ask questions because they want material for the next argument. Some people want to understand your heart. Others want to study your words so they can twist them later. Wisdom is knowing the difference. There are situations where you must speak. If someone's rights are involved, speak. If silence will allow serious harm to continue, speak. If you are responsible for correcting misinformation, speak. If abuse, oppression, fraud, or danger must be reported, speak. Islam does not teach cowardly silence in the face of injustice. But there are also situations where speaking only feeds the fire. A person insults you online and you respond, then they respond again. Then strangers arrive. Then screenshots are shared. Then your entire week is consumed by a person you have never met, who may be sitting comfortably eating snacks while watching you lose your mind. Why? Not every barking dog requires you to stop your journey and conduct a debate. You have places to go. You have prayers to protect. You have a family to care for. You have goals to pursue. You have sins to repent from. You have a grave ahead of you. Yet you are spending hours arguing with anonymous accounts whose profile pictures may not even be real. Silence is sometimes mercy toward your own soul. The Quran describes the servants of the Most Merciful as those who walk upon the earth with humility, and when ignorant people address them harshly, they respond with words of peace. This does not mean they agree with falsehood. It means they refuse to become like the ignorant person speaking to them. There is tremendous dignity in refusing to descend. When someone insults you and you remain composed, you are not saying that their behavior is acceptable. You are saying that your character is not available for negotiation. Your manners do not depend on their manners. Your faith does not depend on their faith. Your discipline does not depend on their discipline. You are responsible for yourself before Allah Hasti. Sometimes the strongest response is no response. Not because you had nothing to say, but because you knew the conversation was beneath the dignity Allah taught you. Not every lie requires a public announcement. Not every rumor survives without your attention. Some rumors die naturally when you refuse to give them oxygen. But when you respond emotionally, you may accidentally advertise what very few people had even heard. Before responding, ask, is this issue significant enough to deserve my energy? Will my response bring clarity or create more confusion? Is the person capable of a reasonable discussion? Are they speaking privately and respectfully or performing publicly for attention? Will silence protect something more valuable? There are people who will deliberately insult you in front of others because they want a performance. They want you to react so they can enjoy the scene. Do not give them a show. Look at them calmly. If necessary, say, I will not continue this conversation while I am being disrespected. Then leave. A boundary expressed calmly can be more powerful than 100 shouted sentences. When you shout, they may focus on your volume. When you speak calmly, they are forced to face your message. And sometimes, complete silence exposes them more clearly than your argument ever could. A person insulting someone who refuses to engage eventually reveals themselves. Everyone begins to see where the problem is. But if both people are shouting, outsiders may conclude that both are equally responsible. Your silence can preserve the truth. However, be careful. Silence should not become passive aggression. Do not use silence to punish your spouse for days. Do not refuse communication as a form of manipulation. Do not hide behind protecting my peace when you actually fear accountability. Some people say, I do not entertain drama, when they are the ones who created the drama and now refuse to discuss it. That is not peace, that is avoidance. Islam calls us to justice. If you harmed someone, you cannot simply disappear and say, I am protecting my energy. You need to apologize. You need to correct what you did. You need to listen. Silence is powerful when it prevents sin, protects dignity, and avoids useless conflict. Silence is harmful when it hides injustice, avoids responsibility, or emotionally abuses another person. Use it with wisdom. and stop believing that everyone must understand your side before you can move forward. Sometimes Allah allows people to misunderstand you, so you learn to live without their approval. Perhaps you explained once clearly, that is enough. Perhaps you apologized sincerely, that is enough. Perhaps you presented evidence, that is enough. Perhaps the person still chooses their version. You cannot force open a heart that is committed to remaining closed. Leave the matter to Allah. Truth does not become false because someone rejected it, and falsehood does not become true because many people repeated it. Your duty is to be honest, not to control every mind. When you understand this, you stop exhausting yourself. You speak where speech is beneficial. You remain silent where silence is wiser, and you leave the final judgment to the one who knows every hidden detail. 4. Set boundaries without feeling guilty. Many kind people suffer because they confuse Islam with having no boundaries. They believe patience means tolerating endless disrespect. They believe forgiveness means giving the same person unlimited opportunities to hurt them. They believe maintaining family ties means allowing relatives to insult, manipulate, control, and emotionally destroy them. They believe saying no is selfish. They believe distancing themselves from harm is sinful. So they keep absorbing pain. They keep answering calls that leave them anxious. They keep attending gatherings where they are humiliated. They keep lending money to people who never repay them. They keep sharing private information with relatives who repeatedly expose it. They keep returning to friendships that damage their faith. Then, when they finally feel exhausted, they blame themselves. Listen carefully. Islam teaches kindness, forgiveness, family ties, patience, and mercy. But Islam does not command you to make yourself permanently available for abuse. There is a difference between forgiving a person and trusting them again. Forgiveness concerns what you carry in your heart. Trust concerns what access they have to your life. You can forgive someone and still decide that they should not handle your private information. You can forgive someone and no longer enter financial agreements with them. You can forgive someone and keep conversations brief. You can forgive someone and refuse to be alone with them. You can forgive someone and involve elders, counselors, authorities, or legal protection where necessary. Forgiveness is not foolishness. The believer does not repeatedly place a hand into the same fire and then call the burns patience. A boundary is not revenge. A boundary says, I will not allow this behavior to continue. Revenge says, I want to make you suffer because you made me suffer. The two are very different. A healthy boundary may sound like this: I am willing to discuss the issue, but I will not continue while you are shouting. I respect you, but I cannot lend you more money. I forgive you, but I am not comfortable sharing personal matters with you anymore. I want to maintain our family relationship, but I will leave gatherings where insults begin. I will help where I reasonably can, but I cannot carry responsibilities that belong to you. I do not accept jokes about my appearance, marriage, children, income, or past. You do not need a long speech every time. Toxic people often treat explanations as openings for negotiation. You say, I cannot come because I am exhausted. They say, why are you exhausted? You explain. They challenge the explanation. You explain more. Before long, you are on trial for taking care of yourself. Sometimes a respectful no is complete. You do not need to write a court judgment. No, I am not able to do that. That is a sentence. It has a full stop. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may accuse you of changing. They are correct. You are changing. You are learning that generosity without wisdom becomes self-destruction. You are learning that peace requires protection. You are learning that being a good person does not mean being available at all times. You are learning that your body has rights, your family has rights, your work has rights, and your worship has rights. Some people will call your boundaries arrogance because your previous availability benefited them. When you were answering at midnight, you were kind. When you stopped, you became selfish. When you agreed with everything, you were respectful. When you expressed an opinion, you became difficult. When you paid repeatedly, you were generous. When you asked them to contribute, suddenly you had changed. Yes, perhaps you have changed from being easily used to becoming responsibly kind. That is not a loss. But boundaries must also be fair. Do not use the language of boundaries to become harsh, isolated, or unaccountable. Some people hear one discussion about toxic relationships and suddenly half the family is blocked. The mother is blocked, the father is blocked, the siblings are blocked, the neighbor is blocked, the cat is nearly blocked because it looked at them with the wrong energy. Slow down. Not every difficult person is toxic. Not every disagreement is abuse. Not every uncomfortable conversation violates your peace. Sometimes people love you and still make mistakes. Sometimes elders speak clumsily but do not intend destruction. Sometimes your spouse raises a valid concern that you do not enjoy hearing. Sometimes your friend corrects you because you are genuinely wrong. A boundary should protect you from harm, not protect your ego from correction. Evaluate the pattern. Was it one mistake followed by sincere remorse or repeated behavior with no accountability? Does the person respect your limits or deliberately violate them? Can the relationship improve with honest conversation? Is distance necessary, or would reduced access be enough? Seek advice from wise, trustworthy people, especially in complicated family or marital matters. Do not make permanent decisions during temporary anger. At the same time, do not remain in serious danger because people misuse religious language against you. If someone is physically violent, threatening, coercive, or dangerously abusive, seek real protection. Speak to trustworthy family members, qualified scholars, counselors, relevant authorities, or support services. Sabr does not mean silently allowing criminal harm. Allah is just. Our religion does not glorify oppression. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught that there should be neither harm nor reciprocating harm. Your peace matters because your heart is where faith lives. Your mental and emotional condition affects your prayers, parenting, marriage, work, health, and relationship with Allah. Protecting your heart from unnecessary chaos is not selfish when done responsibly. It may be an act of stewardship. You cannot pour endlessly from an empty cup. You cannot help everyone while destroying yourself. You cannot maintain every relationship at the same level. Some people belong close to you. Some belong at a respectful distance. Some should receive salam and basic kindness, but not your secrets. Some should receive forgiveness, but not renewed access. And some situations require complete separation for safety. Wisdom is placing each person at the correct distance. Do not hate them. Do not wish evil upon them. Do not gossip about them. Do not become obsessed with proving they are toxic. Simply change the access. Close the door without setting the house on fire. 5. Do not absorb the character of toxic people. A dangerous thing happens when you spend too much time fighting toxic people. You may slowly begin to resemble them. They gossip, so you gossip about their gossip. They insult, so you insult them for being insulting. They expose secrets, so you expose theirs to defend yourself. They manipulate, so you begin manipulating to stay one step ahead. They lie, so you justify your own exaggerations. Eventually, the person who harmed you has succeeded in changing who you are. Do not give anyone that victory. Your greatest achievement is not defeating them in an argument. It is leaving the situation with your character intact. Perhaps they were dishonest. You remain truthful. Perhaps they were cruel. You remain just. Perhaps they mocked you. You refuse to mock what Allah created. Perhaps they betrayed a confidence. You do not expose their private matters without a valid need. Perhaps they spread rumors. You do not build a campaign of revenge. This does not mean you hide evidence required for justice. If authorities, mediators, counselors, employers, courts, or family decision makers need truthful information, present it responsibly. Islam does not require you to protect an oppressor from accountability. But accountability is different from humiliation. Justice is different from obsession. Warning someone about genuine harm is different from enjoying the destruction of another person's reputation. Check your heart. Are you speaking because someone needs protection or because you want applause? Are you presenting facts or adding dramatic details to make the story stronger? Are you seeking a solution or recruiting people to hate the person? Are you speaking to those who can help or to anyone willing to listen? Pain can make wrongdoing feel justified. Be careful. Shaitan does not always invite you to obvious evil. Sometimes he comes through the door of your injury and whispers, after what they did to you, you deserve to do this. but your accountability before Allah does not disappear because someone hurt you first. On the day of judgment, you will not be asked only what they did, you will also be asked how you responded. Protect yourself from becoming bitter. Bitterness is when someone who harmed you continues living inside your mind without paying rent. You wake up thinking about them. You sleep thinking about them. You imagine arguments. You rehearse speeches. You check their social media. You hope their life becomes difficult. You interpret every event through the wound they caused. At that point, even if the person is gone, they still control you. Release yourself. Releasing does not mean pretending the pain was small. It means refusing to let the pain become your identity. You are more than what happened to you. You are more than the betrayal. You are more than the insult. You are more than the divorce. You are more than the rejection. You are more than the family drama. You are a servant of Allah with a future, a purpose, and a soul that can heal. Do not keep introducing yourself to yourself through your wounds. Some people become so attached to the role of victim that healing feels like losing their identity. They speak about the same person for years. Every gathering returns to the same betrayal. Every new relationship is punished for what the previous person did. Every kind gesture is viewed with suspicion. Every disagreement becomes proof that people cannot be trusted. This is not protection anymore. It is imprisonment. Ask Allah to cleanse your heart. Make dua for freedom from hatred. You do not have to make dramatic prayers for the success of someone actively oppressing you. But ask Allah to guide them, stop their harm, restore your rights, and protect your heart from corruption. There is power in saying, "O Allah, deal with this matter according to your justice, and do not allow it to destroy my faith. Leave the punishment to Allah. You are not qualified to carry the role of divine judge. You do not know every hidden factor. You do not know what repentance may occur. You do not know what consequences Allah has already written. Focus on what belongs to you, your heart, your actions, your healing, your worship, and your boundaries. Do not keep drinking poison while hoping the other person becomes sick. Hatred harms the container carrying it. And remember that toxic behavior often comes from wounded people, but their wound does not excuse their harm. You can understand someone without allowing them to mistreat you. Perhaps they grew up around shouting. Perhaps they experienced betrayal. Perhaps they never learned healthy communication. Perhaps they carry deep insecurity. This can explain behavior, but it does not make every behavior acceptable. Compassion and boundaries can exist together. You may say, "I understand that you are hurting, but I will not allow you to hurt me." You may pray for their healing while removing yourself from their reach. You may recognize their trauma without volunteering to become its target. A believer should not become naive in the name of mercy. Our mercy is guided by wisdom, and guard your tongue when speaking about those who harmed you. It is very easy to make every conversation about them. At first you are seeking support, then you begin repeating the story, then the story becomes slightly stronger each time. Then you enjoy the reactions, then backbiting becomes a habit disguised as healing. Real healing does not require endless public storytelling. Choose one or two trustworthy people. Speak to those who have wisdom, confidentiality, and the ability to help. Do not announce every detail to the world. Your pain is sacred. Handle it carefully. The more people you involve, the harder reconciliation or closure may become. And do not let social media turn your private wound into public entertainment. A mysterious quote, a pointed status, a video clearly aimed at one person, a caption saying, "Some people will understand." Yes, they will understand. So will everyone else. Then the screenshots begin. Address matters directly where possible or remain silent. Indirect public warfare rarely brings peace. It usually creates a larger audience for the drama. Preserve your dignity. You do not have to prove you were the better person by telling everyone how terrible the other person was. Be the better person before Allah. That is enough. 6. Build a heart that depends on Allah, not human validation. The deeper reason insults disturb many people is that they touch an insecurity already living inside. A stranger says, "You are a failure," and it hurts, because part of you fears it may be true. A relative says, "No one respects you," and it hurts, because you have built your identity around being respected. Someone criticizes your appearance and it crushes you because you have connected your worth to beauty. Someone mocks your income and you feel ashamed because you measure yourself through possessions. Someone rejects you and you feel worthless because you believed being chosen by them proved that you mattered. Insults gain power when they attach themselves to an idol inside the heart. The idol may be reputation, beauty, success, marriage, status, intelligence, popularity, being needed, being admired. When your identity depends on any of these things, people can threaten your identity by questioning them. But when your central identity is that you are a servant of Allah, your foundation becomes much harder to shake. You may lose status and remain a servant of Allah. You may age and remain a servant of Allah. You may be rejected and remain a servant of Allah. You may be misunderstood and remain a servant of Allah. You may fail in business and remain a servant of Allah. You may make a mistake, repent sincerely, and remain beloved to Allah. Human beings see labels. Allah sees the heart. Human beings see your income. Allah sees whether it was halal. Human beings see your appearance. Allah sees your taqwa. Human beings see the size of your audience. Allah sees the sincerity of your intention. Human beings may call you insignificant, while the angels record deeds that make you great in the sight of Allah. This is freedom. When you know who you are before Allah, you stop performing constantly before people. You do not need to announce every good deed. You do not need to prove every achievement. You do not need to display every blessing. You do not need to answer every person who doubts you. A quiet relationship with Allah gives the heart stability. Strengthen it through salah, and do not treat salah merely as an obligation you rush through. Bring your emotional burdens into your prayer. When people insult you, stand before the one who honored you. When people misunderstand you, speak to the one who knows you completely. When people abandon you, bow before the one who never abandons his servants. When your chest feels tight, lengthen your sujood. Tell Allah what happened. He already knows, but you need the conversation. Say, "Oh Allah, their words hurt me. Protect my heart. Guide my response. Do not allow this trial to take me away from you." There is no shame in admitting pain to Allah. Prophets complained of grief to Allah. The strongest hearts were not emotionless. They were connected. Read the Quran not only for reward, but for reorientation. The world tells you that dignity comes from winning every confrontation. The Quran teaches that dignity belongs to Allah, His Messenger, and the believers. The world tells you revenge will bring closure. Revelation teaches patience, justice, forgiveness, and trust in Allah. The world tells you people control your future. The Quran reminds you that no soul can harm you except by Allah's permission, and what Allah has written for you cannot be blocked by their jealousy. This does not mean becoming passive. It means acting without panic. Your provision is not in the hands of the person who hates you. Your honor is not in the hands of the relative who mocks you. Your future is not in the hands of the colleague who spreads rumors. Your marriage is not in the hands of people who envy you. Your ultimate outcome is with Allah. Take practical steps, but do not worship the steps. Defend your rights, but do not believe your entire life depends on your cleverness. Seek justice, but know that Allah's justice is greater than every human system. Do your part and trust Him. Dhikr also creates emotional strength. A heart constantly remembering Allah becomes too occupied with truth to be destroyed by every voice. Say Subhanallah, say Alhamdulillah, say Allahu Akbar. Say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power and no strength except through Allah. This statement is not merely for the tongue. It is a worldview. It means I cannot control people. I cannot force hearts. I cannot guarantee outcomes. But Allah is powerful, and I place this matter with Him. When you say Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil, you are declaring that Allah is sufficient for you and the best disposer of affairs. Do not say it while your heart remains completely attached to revenge. Say it as an act of surrender. O Allah, I will act justly, but I leave the result to you. And examine the company you keep. If your circle survives on gossip, outrage, mockery, and constant conflict, you will struggle to protect your peace. Some friendships are built entirely around discussing other people. Remove the gossip, and there is no relationship left. Every meeting becomes a courtroom. Every relative is analyzed. Every marriage is discussed. Every mistake is magnified. Every private issue becomes entertainment. Such company darkens the heart. Choose people who remind you of Allah, people who calm you instead of inflaming you, people who tell you when you are wrong, people who do not encourage revenge merely because they love you. A bad friend says you should destroy them. A wise friend says protect yourself, seek your rights, but do not lose your akhirah. You need people who care more about your soul than your ego, and be careful about the content you consume. If you constantly watch videos teaching you that everyone is jealous, everyone is narcissistic, everyone is secretly competing with you, and everyone who disagrees is toxic, you may become paranoid. You may begin interpreting ordinary human imperfections as calculated attacks. Not everyone is obsessed with you. Most people are busy thinking about themselves. Sometimes the late reply was simply a late reply. Sometimes the short message was written during a busy moment. Sometimes the gathering happened without you because of logistics, not conspiracy. Sometimes the person did not notice you were upset. Do not manufacture drama in the name of protecting yourself from drama. Husnul dhan, having a good opinion where reasonable, protects relationships. Verify before accusing, ask before assuming, clarify before cutting people off. A heart connected to Allah is neither naive nor paranoid. It is balanced. It does not trust blindly. It does not suspect blindly. It moves with evidence, wisdom, prayer, and patience. 7. Choose the hereafter over the need to win. Most drama continues because both people are desperate to win. Each person wants the final word. Each person wants witnesses to declare you were right. Each person wants the other to apologize first. Each person wants to be seen as stronger. So the conflict grows. One message becomes 10. One disagreement becomes a family division. One insult becomes years of silence. One financial dispute becomes hatred passed down to children. People who once prayed beside each other refuse to exchange salam. Relatives attend the same funeral and stand on opposite sides because no one wanted to lower the ego. My beloved brothers and sisters, one day you will die. The person you are fighting will die. The audience watching the conflict will die. The messages will disappear. The status updates will disappear. The people whose approval you fought for will stand before Allah themselves. Then what will remain? Your deeds, your intentions, your rights, the rights of others. The words you spoke, the hearts you wounded, the apologies you refused, the forgiveness you withheld, the injustice you committed while claiming to defend yourself. Remembering the hereafter makes many arguments look very small. Ask yourself, is winning this argument worth losing reward? Is humiliating this person worth answering for it before Allah? Is protecting my ego worth breaking a family permanently? Is one sarcastic comment worth damaging a marriage? Is proving that I am right worth teaching my children hatred? Sometimes you are right, but the way you defend your right becomes wrong. Sometimes the issue matters, but your ego adds unnecessary destruction. Sometimes reconciliation is possible, but you refuse because you want the other person to crawl toward you. Islam honors those who reconcile. There is no humiliation in initiating peace for Allah's sake. You may say salam first. You may send the first message. You may apologize for your portion, even if the other person refuses to acknowledge theirs. You may say, I still believe my concern was valid, but I regret how I spoke. That is maturity. Apologizing for your behavior does not always mean surrendering your position. You can maintain that something was wrong while admitting that your reaction was also wrong. And forgiveness carries immense reward, but forgiveness must be understood correctly. Forgiveness does not erase earthly consequences automatically. A person may be forgiven in your heart, but still be required to repay money. A person may be forgiven, but still face legal consequences. A person may be forgiven, but not restored to the same position of trust. A person may be forgiven while communication remains limited. Forgiveness means you stop feeding the desire to personally destroy them. You hand the matter to Allah. You refuse to let hatred consume your worship. And sometimes, forgiveness is a process rather than a single emotional moment. You may decide to forgive today and feel pain again tomorrow. That does not necessarily mean your forgiveness was false. Healing has layers. Each time the memory returns, renew your surrender. Say, "Oh Allah, I do not want this hatred. Help me release it." At the same time, seek justice where appropriate. Islam does not command victims to pretend nothing occurred. You may pursue your rights without becoming cruel. You may document evidence. You may involve responsible people. You may request repayment. You may report abuse. You may protect others from genuine danger. But keep your intention under examination. Do not turn justice into a lifelong addiction to the other person's downfall. At some point, you must return to your own life. You must worship. You must laugh again. You must love again. You must build again. You must stop visiting the scene of the injury every day. Do not allow one chapter written by someone else to become the title of your entire life. Allah can give you peace without giving you the apology you wanted. This is important. Many people say, I cannot move on until they admit what they did. Then the person never admits it. Perhaps they deny everything. Perhaps they rewrite the story. Perhaps they blame you. Perhaps they die without apologizing. Will you remain trapped forever? Closure does not always come from the person who wounded you. Sometimes closure comes from Allah. It comes when you accept that He saw it. He recorded it. He understands it. He can restore what was taken in ways you cannot imagine. You do not need the criminal to agree with the verdict for the truth to remain true. You know what happened. Allah knows more fully than you do. Take the lesson and continue. Perhaps the betrayal taught you discernment. Perhaps the insult exposed an insecurity you needed to heal. Perhaps the toxic relationship taught you to establish boundaries. Perhaps the public humiliation detached you from people's praise. Perhaps the rejection redirected you towards something better. This does not make the wrong behavior right, but Allah can bring wisdom from what was wrong. Do not waste the pain. Let it mature you. Let it soften you toward other wounded people. Let it make you more careful with your tongue. Because once you know how words can hurt, you should become less willing to hurt others. Once you know how betrayal feels, become more trustworthy. Once you know how loneliness feels, include people. Once you know how false accusations feel, verify stories before spreading them. Your pain can either make you poisonous or make you principled. Choose principles. And remember the example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. He was insulted, mocked, rejected, falsely accused, threatened, and physically harmed. Yet he did not allow the cruelty of others to corrupt his mission. His mercy was not weakness. His patience was not fear. His forgiveness was not ignorance. He could be firm when firmness was required. He could establish justice, but personal revenge did not control him. That is the standard we strive toward. Not because we will become perfect overnight, but because we need a direction. The next time someone insults you, remember that you are being tested. They are being tested through what they say. You are being tested through how you respond. Do not become so focused on their failure that you forget your own examination. Perhaps your silence earns you reward. Perhaps your restraint protects a family. Perhaps your apology saves a relationship. Perhaps your boundary saves your faith. Perhaps your forgiveness frees your heart. Perhaps walking away prevents years of regret. Choose the response that you will be proud to meet on the day of judgment. My beloved brothers and sisters, peace is not found by arranging the entire world according to your preferences. You will never eliminate every difficult person. You will never prevent every insult. You will never control every rumor. You will never make all relatives reasonable. You will never convince every critic. Peace comes when your heart learns where to place these matters. Some matters require action. Take action. Some require a conversation. Have the conversation. Some require boundaries. Set them. Some require legal or professional intervention. Seek it. Some require forgiveness. Forgive. Some require distance. Step back. And some require nothing except silence, dua, and trust in Allah. Do not use the same response for every problem. Wisdom is knowing what each situation needs. But in every situation, protect your relationship with Allah. Do not miss salah because you are arguing. Do not backbite because you are hurt. Do not expose secrets because you are angry. Do not become unjust because someone else was unjust first. Do not let a toxic person turn you into a toxic person. Your peace is too valuable. Your heart is too valuable. Your akhirah is too valuable. The next time someone attempts to provoke you, pause and remember, I do not need to attend every argument I am invited to. I do not need to explain myself to someone committed to misunderstanding me. I do not need to exchange my character for temporary victory. I do not need to carry hatred when Allah offers me freedom. I do not need everyone to approve of me when Allah knows my intention. I can be firm without being cruel. I can forgive without becoming foolish. I can walk away without seeking revenge. I can feel hurt without committing sin. I can protect my peace without abandoning justice. And I can leave what I cannot control in the hands of Allah. O Allah, cleanse our hearts from hatred, arrogance, envy, and the desire for revenge. O Allah, give us strength when we are insulted, wisdom when we are provoked, and justice when we are wronged. O Allah, protect us from harming others with our tongues, hands, messages, and actions. O Allah, guide those who have harmed us, stop their harm, restore our rights, and do not allow their behavior to corrupt our character. O Allah, teach us when to speak, when to remain silent, when to forgive, when to establish boundaries, and when to walk away. O Allah, make us people whose dignity comes from obedience to you, whose peace comes from remembering you, and whose hearts depend upon you alone. Because when Allah is enough for you, the noise of people begins to lose its power. Their insults may reach your ears, but they do not have to enter your soul. Their drama may happen around you, but it does not have to live within you. Their disrespect may reveal their character, but your response will reveal yours. So protect your heart, guard your tongue, control your anger,